Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gadi Schwartz coming to you from Los Angeles. And here's some of the stories we're watching tonight. Hundreds of police officers are searching for a man suspected of murdering 5 of his neighbors.
There's always a danger when you've got a guy that just shot 5 people in the head, execution style.
And the Mississippi River has finally peaked, but that doesn't mean the flood threat is over.
Kind of speechless. My first time down here during the flood, and just kind of riding it out with the neighbors, showing me what to do.
And your favorite TV shows could soon be shutting down production.
If there is a Writers Guild strike in Hollywood this week, it is going to have a massive ripple effect that you could borderline call a tsunami effect.
Also, with the help of AI, doctors are able to find tumors faster than ever before.
How big of a deal is this? It's an incredible advancement. We can have a molecular diagnosis in 3 minutes instead of 3 weeks.
And he's only 12 years old, but he is detailing some of the world's most iconic cars.
Hey everyone, Detail Kid here, where the details make the difference.
And tonight, police are trying to find the man accused of killing 5 of his neighbors, including a 9-year-old kid. The manhunt, which started in Cleveland, Texas, is now in its 3rd day today, with police acting on 2 tips out of Montgomery County that did not pan out. One of them led to schools nearby going into lockdown. Now, the suspect, 38-year-old Francisco Oropesa, seen right here, is considered armed and dangerous. Authorities are offering an $80,000 reward for any information that could lead to his capture.
We have over 200 law enforcement personnel from federal, state, and local agencies trying to bring this subject into custody. We're asking everyone for your help so we can bring this suspect, or this monster, I will call him, to justice.
On Friday, Oropesa, who was shooting his gun in his front yard, was asked by his neighbor to stop because they were trying to put their baby to sleep. Oropesa then proceeded to load an AR-15 semi-auto rifle, went to the neighbor's house and opened fire, killing these 5 members of the family: Sonia Guzman, Diana Alvarado, Juliesa Rivera, and Jose Cesares, and their 9-year-old Daniel Lasso. Authorities say they were all shot in the head, execution style. Oropesa then took off, and right now authorities say they have hit a dead end with this manhunt. We do know that Oropesa is a Mexican national who was deported from the United States 4 times, and yet has that tattoo on his left arm. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson joins me now. Priscilla, it seems like they keep getting close. 2 potential sightings today. How's it going right now?
Yeah, Gadi, still the suspect remains at large. The good news is they have been putting these signs up around town asking for tips, and that seems to be working. As you mentioned, there were 2 reported sightings today in a neighboring Montgomery County, and we saw police going out in full force to search those areas, but ultimately they have not been able to apprehend the suspect yet. And to give you a bit of background on how we got here, in the hours after this initially happened, so on Saturday, officials here were very confident that they were going to be able to catch this suspect. They said that the wife had been cooperating, that they had someone who had been in touch with the suspect even as he was on the run, and they were closing in on him in a wooded area just a few miles from where we are, or so they thought. But when they got there, they actually found the cell phone and clothing from the suspect that had been abandoned, but he was nowhere to be found. And shortly after that, the dogs that were tracking him lost his scent. And so since then, we have seen officials going door to door, investigators going door to door, speaking to neighbors, trying to figure out any potential leads, searching homes, searching cars. And of course, now they are urging people to call that tip line and to report anything. The FBI says they do believe the suspect may begin reaching out to friends and people who he knows, and they're hoping that this $80,000 reward may entice any of those folks who may know anything to come forward with that information. Gadi?
I can't imagine how the victims' families are doing right now. Any word from them?
Yeah, I spoke to the father of the 9-year-old boy who was murdered, and that man's wife was also murdered. His name is Wilson Garcia. He actually arrived walked back to the scene while we were there, and he was incredibly emotional, inconsolable as he's dealing with his heartbreak. And he described his son as someone who loved animals. They had gotten him a horse, and he also had a dog, and he would rush home from school to care for those animals. And we're also learning that all 5 victims were Honduran nationals, and 2 of those women who were killed, Diana Alvarado and Julissa Rivera, actually used their bodies to cover the 3 children who survived uninjured. And police have confirmed that. We've also heard that from Mr. Garcia, who was in the house the night that all of this happened. And I asked Mr. Garcia what his message is to the killer who is still out there right now, and he told me that he wants him to please turn himself in. He said that he does not want to see another family experience the pain that he is now dealing with. Gadi?
Priscilla, thanks so much. And work here in Hollywood could come to a grinding halt tonight. That's if studios and the writers' union don't agree to a deal. Film and TV writers could walk off the jobs tomorrow. Essentially, they want better pay, job security, and more information as the industry turns to streaming. Now, a strike is very possible, and we've seen it before. The 12,000-member union walked out from November 2007 to February of 2008. Joining us now is NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra. Marissa, how's it looking? Any last-minute headway, or does it look like we're going to see a strike here?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, Gadi. And that's a question that even members of the WGA are wondering. And I've been speaking to people who are at the negotiating table, and they can't share very much. But honestly, what we could probably expect is this is probably going to come down to the wire. You're looking right now, that's almost 98% of WGA members voted to authorize a strike. But in terms of the likelihood that we'll see one, I don't even think we're going to have an answer to that until probably 11:59 tonight, which is that deadline.
Last minute. What exactly is the union asking for here?
Yeah, so in simple terms, more pay. But the reasons why, they say that today's climate is just so different, especially the last time they negotiated, especially the last time there was a strike. You're looking at some of the demands there, but I think the headline there really is streaming. There's not really a standardization when it comes to streaming. And just in terms of the pay, it's totally different. You know, a lot of times these writers get paid per episode, but with streaming, you may notice they have less episodes and they take longer to produce. So it means that they can't go and work other jobs. It just means that they're getting paid a whole lot less, and a lot of them are saying that it's difficult to live off of what they're currently making.
Now, I know some of this revolves around the issue of AI. Everybody's talking about AI, and there's been talk of, okay, well, how do we protect our jobs from robots taking over?
Yeah.
But then the question of if a writing strike does happen, what are the chances that some of the studios may use AI to fill in on some of those writer heads?
Yeah, so a lot of interesting questions you have there, and obviously a lot of concerns from writers. And frankly, I think every industry is looking to see how much AI is a threat to their industry. I mean, we've seen with ChatGPT just how much it can do, can produce, can write for them. So when we talk about the list of demands from WGA, you might have seen on that list, having some sort of regulation for artificial intelligence was on that list because they are threatened, and they say they want to make sure that writers are the ones doing the writing. So I think in terms of whether we're going to see artificial intelligence, if there is a strike, if that's used, probably unlikely because this is still being developed. However, it is a very real threat, clearly, because it's something that they want to bring to the negotiating table in this latest round of negotiations.
And that negotiating table is
happening right now as we speak.
Happening right now, all the way to midnight.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Marissa Parra, thanks so much.
Thanks, Gadi.
And today, one of the biggest banks in America closed up shop. Federal regulators seized First Republic early this morning. Then, to keep customers from losing everything, they say they needed a buyer. That's when JP Chase stepped in. Now, this is the second largest bank failure in U.S. history. On top of that, it seems to be following what could be a trend. This is the third bank to shutter this year. And some important context here. These 3 collapses were bigger than most of the banks that closed shop in 2008. And joining us now is NBC News business and tech reporter Brian Chung. Brian, what happened and how is this different from SVB and Signature?
Yeah, well, it's different in the way that it was resolved, Gadi, and it was really interesting to see all this transpire over the weekend. I lost a lot of sleep, but essentially what happened here is that the government decided in the middle of the night, 3:30 a.m. Eastern time, to announce that it was going to close the bank, but then simultaneously announced that JP Chase, by the way, the largest bank in America, was going to come in and buy it immediately from the government. Now, that was very different than the way that Signature and also Silicon Valley banks were closed, because they were taken into receivership, had the doors shuttered, and then ultimately government held the bag for a number of days before they were able to sell those assets to other banks. So that did change the calculus here, because it means that the assets over at First Republic were never at risk of essentially having to get guaranteed beyond the $250,000. It's not like the government wasn't able to pay out any of the money, because they never actually opened the doors of First Republic as an entity that wasn't held by another private business, because in this case, all those First Republic Bank branches were just Chase branches. And you mentioned the history of this. First Republic Bank, now the second largest bank failure in history. The only one that was larger than that was Washington Mutual in 2008. And guess who bought that bank at the time? JP Morgan Chase.
Didn't we hear we shouldn't worry? Don't we keep hearing that again and again? In fact, I think we've got President Biden on March 13th after Signature and SVB closed. Let's take a listen.
Today, thanks to the quick action of my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them.
Confidence. What does what we saw today and over the weekend say about the health of the banking system right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly when you take a look at what's happening here, especially when you consider this happened weeks after what we thought was going to be the worst of the situation with those other two banks failing, it does underscore that, look, we might not be out of the woods yet on this banking issue. But you have to remember that when it comes to First Republic, this was a bank that was already flagged in March as potentially the next one to go, given its similar profile to the other two banks that failed. And even though it is certainly large, it is not in the top 10. And there's also thousands, over 4,000 banks that are smaller. So really what we're looking at here is a relatively isolated incident. When you take a look at what happened with this bank, they lost 40% of their deposits in the first few months. Most other banks of comparable size only lost about 5%, Gadi. So it's very much an unusual circumstance that happened at that bank.
And Brian, one last question. Don't worry, this one's just a tiny one here. The debt ceiling. It looks like we're on track to max out our debt limit by the beginning of next month. What happens then?
Yeah, that little thing. It's it's at the center of really political gamesmanship in Washington, D.C., because it could hold up the ability of the government to pay its bills. And by the way, Gadi, bills that it's already racked up. This has nothing to do with spending and can't control spending that's already been done. It's essentially issuing debt to pay the bills that it's already racked up. Now, for what it's worth, the Treasury is saying just today that its estimate for when it will run out of money to pay those bills will be June 1st. That's an estimate. It could change. You have some on Wall Street saying this evening, like Parthenon EY, saying that they feel like they could probably hobble by through the first half of July, but, quote, it's probably preferable not to play with fire. And fire is apparently what Washington is trying to grapple with here, Gadi.
NBC's Brian Chung. Thanks so much, brother. And the Mississippi River has finally crested, hitting its peak in Davenport, Iowa today. The highest it got was 21.4 feet, testing those sandbags and the flood barriers that the town has been putting up over the last week. Now, take a look at some pretty crazy time lapse that you can see one person's living room flooding over the course of the weekend. Unfortunately, there was just nothing they could do to stop that water from coming in. Most roads and parks are closed, but people have been still heading to the banks of the giant Mississippi River. And now the real question is what these towns are going to look like when the water recedes. NBC's Jesse Kirsch has more.
Gadi, you can see here in Davenport, Iowa tonight, still plenty of water downtown. We are expecting this water level to start dropping slowly tomorrow, but parts of this city will still be flooded into next week. This area has been dealing with these floodwaters for days. We know that this is being attributed to rapid snowmelt from further north. There have been flooded communities stretching up to the Twin Cities, and this has been a days-long, slow-moving disaster, which we have seen. But I can tell you, having been in this community for days now, that most of the people we've come across, and obviously we haven't interviewed everybody, but when we talk to people here, the overwhelming sentiment is essentially a shrug, that this is just part of life along the river. They are used to seeing flooding here, and it is something that is a worthwhile price to some of the people we've talked to be able to live along the river. They talk about the beauty, the nature, the scenery that they have here, and this is something that they are willing to put up with. So that is the scene we have seen time and again. Today we met a woman who lives in an area nearby, in a community called Buffalo, Iowa. Here's part of what she told us when we talked to her about seeing her home surrounded by water, but she has sandbags around the home, and she says that inside her home, it is dry. Here's part of what she shared. You still have power, heat, everything. I mean, if you were inside, you'd have no idea.
Yeah, no. If I had the curtains closed, I'd never know.
One of the things they don't have in downtown Davenport is a flood wall. We've asked the mayor about that, and he says, frankly, the cost doesn't make sense. They really just focus on labor costs here. He says they have a lot of the equipment they need to handle flood mitigation. He says they are working on other mitigation measures, but what we think of as an above-ground flood wall is not something they are thinking to put up. And again, flooding along the Mississippi, that is just a part of life along the river for some of the people we talk with here. Gadi?
Jesse Kirsch, thank you. And we are following some breaking news tonight out of Illinois. That's where a dust storm caused more than 80 cars to crash along a big highway there. Officials say at least 6 people have been killed. More than 30 have been hurt in the crash that happened just north of Farmville. According to the Illinois State Police, the low visibility in the area was caused by powerful winds blowing dirt from farm fields across the highway. Police also say 2 big rigs caught fire and about 28 commercial vehicles and 60 cars were involved in that pileup. Now, because of the crash, parts of Illinois, Interstate 55 are shut down in both directions. Of course, we're going to continue to monitor this story for any developments. And still ahead this hour.
Our dreams are your dreams. America is grateful for our friendship with Israel.
Now, President Biden says he has no plans to invite Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House. So House Speaker Kevin McCarthy essentially said no problem and invited him to visit Congress instead. Then the fire in the streets of Paris as workers there continue to push the government to do away with the country's higher retirement age. All that is coming up. Around the World in 80 Seconds starts tonight in Israel, where House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is making some news. Today, McCarthy took a shot at President Biden for not hosting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. Then he suggested he come to Congress instead. Now, this comes as Biden's relationship with Netanyahu has grown a bit tense. Back in March, Biden said he was, quote, very concerned about Israel's democracy. Elsewhere in the Middle East, an ISIS leader has been killed in Syria. This comes from the president of Turkey, who said his country's intelligence forces had been after the Islamic State leader for quite some time, and that he was ultimately found in a hideout about 4 miles from the Turkish border. That was one of the worst hit areas from that deadly quake that hit back in February. And tens of thousands are still trying to get out of Sudan after violence erupted 2 weeks ago between rival military forces. Over the weekend, the U.S. organized 2 convoys to help Americans reach Port Sudan, where they hope to escape by boat. Meanwhile, the UN's top official in the country says that Sudan's warring generals might be getting closer to a more permanent ceasefire. And today, the State Department confirmed that an American has been killed in Ukraine. Now, they haven't said who was killed, and we're still working to confirm more information on what happened. Meanwhile, an overnight strike from Russia hurt at least 34 people, including 5 children. NBC's Ellison Barber has more from the ground from Kharkiv.
Gadi, Russia's latest missile attack started around 2:30 a.m. local time. Before most people woke up, every single region in Ukraine was blaring air raid sirens. The armed forces of Ukraine says they intercepted 15 out of 18 cruise missiles fired by Russia when they could not stop, slammed into the city of Pavlohrad. Local officials say dozens of homes there were destroyed and 34 people were injured. Among them, children, the youngest, just 8 years old. It was the second major airstrike in 3 days. Russia says they've been targeting military-related infrastructure, reserve units, and supply hubs for ammo and weapons. They claim all of the targets have been hit, but we've seen these strikes cause a lot of civilian bloodshed. Friday's wave of strikes left 25 people dead, 23 of them in the city of Uman. Some of the victims were laid to rest this weekend. One family buried 2 of their children, 11-year-old Sophia and 17-year-old Kirusha. Their 6-year-old brother stood next to their caskets and cried. All of this comes as Ukraine inches closer to launching a counteroffensive that they've been preparing for, training for months. And this week, we saw a hint of what might be to come. Ukraine says they carried out an attack on an oil depot in Russian-occupied Crimea in preparation for the counteroffensive. Ukraine's top military official has said their forces are prepared at a high percentage to carry out this counteroffensive. But exactly when it will happen, that is a closely guarded secret. Gadi?
Listen, Barbara, thank you so much. Meanwhile, in France, May Day takes on a whole new meaning this year. May 1st, of course, is the day that commemorates the labor movement all around the world. And today, protesters battled with police as they continue to push back against President Emmanuel Macron's increase in the retirement age. NBC's Richard Engel is in Paris with more.
Protesters here in Paris are now clashing with police. We are in Place de la Nation, right in the center of Paris. And what's happening here is police have ringed this crowd, and occasionally the riot police will rush in to try and break up the demonstration, and they will push in with their shields, fire in tear gas. But so far, it is not working because the protesters will just pick up the tear gas, throw it back at the police, occasionally kicking them, pushing them back. And this is all about the government's new law changing the retirement age here from 62 to 64. The government says it's necessary because people are living longer, not as many people are being born, not as many people entering the workforce, and the government of President Macron says unless it does this, the system is going to go broke. But people here don't accept that. They say there is money out there, there are plenty of wealthy people, plenty of wealthy corporations, and that they should pay more, and that what they're fighting for here is the value of life, a work-life balance, that life is not just about working and working as long as possible, but critics say it's unrealistic, that this day had to come. But people here don't want to see it happen. And it is not just in Paris. There have been demonstrations in cities nationwide. According to organizers, labor unions, there have been more than 2 million people out on the streets, including 500,000 here in Paris alone. The police put that number at much lower. They say it is just about 120,000 in Paris. So far, there have been dozens of arrests, some injuries, but outside of this square, where it is most intense right now, there have been a lot of peaceful demonstrations, families out in the streets taking part in this movement because they say they are standing up for a fundamentally French principle, this principle of a work-life balance, which the government says it wants to keep but can't afford.
Richard Engel, thanks so much. Still to come, the latest on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and his long-running beef with the Walt Disney Company. But how did it all start again, and how's it going to end? We're going to have that. Then you got to see this. Nothing like a beer, baseball, and a baby. A Dodgers fan has gone viral after showcasing some serious multitasking during yesterday's game. The Dodgers shared that video of a dad who caught a foul ball with his bare hand, all while holding a beer and a baby in a carrier strapped to his chest, and he did not spill a single drop. He made it look so easy that the Dodgers gave him an MVP-worthy skill, a shout-out in a tweet titled Dad Power. Talk about a triple play. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's get you caught up in 30 seconds. Police in Texas say they have no idea where a murder suspect is right now. 0 leads, and he is suspected of shooting and killing 5 of his neighbors with an AR-15 over the weekend. The Mississippi River finally crested. The peak was 21.4 feet, and we are just hours away from a possible writer's strike. TV and film productions could shut down across the country if there's no deal met by midnight tonight. And in Florida, there is a lot going on at Disney right now. Like the local governing board that oversees Disney in Florida is suing Disney. Now, this suit was filed less than a week after the company sued Governor Ron DeSantis and that very same board.
Since Disney sued us, yes, we didn't sue Disney. Disney sued us. We have no choice now but to respond. This district will seek justice in state court here in Central Florida, where both it and Disney reside and do business.
Okay, so quick refresher. How did we get here? Basically, last year, DeSantis signed the so-called Don't Say Gay bill into law, banning Florida elementary school teachers from discussing gender identity and sexual orientation. Disney CEO at the time criticized that bill, and in response, DeSantis pushed the GOP-controlled legislature to strip Disney of its self-governing status in Florida, which comes with a share of tax benefits. And then DeSantis appointed this new board to oversee Disney. NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos joins me now. So, Danny, is this a I'll see you in court, no, I'll see you in court kind of situation? What's Disney suing for? What's the board countersuing for?
Yeah, that is exactly what this is. This is upping the ante. And of course, Disney sued the state of Florida, not just the governor, Ron DeSantis, alleging that they were essentially retaliated against as a company for expressing their First Amendment beliefs. And that in doing so, the state of Florida violated what's called the Contracts Clause of the Constitution by infringing or affecting or otherwise harming existing private contracts. And Disney might have an argument there because it seems so apparent from DeSantis's own statements that this was retaliatory legislation targeting Disney. Now, on the other hand, Disney is such a unique entity within Florida that any legislation affecting it could arguably be not targeting, but just something that affects this very unique kind of business structure. On the other hand, now the latest lawsuit, you essentially have this board now suing to undo what a prior Disney-controlled board did right before this new board took over. They're arguing that it's what we call ultra vires, beyond their power as a board to do, not worth the paper that it's written on. So, yes, you're going to have two separate lawsuits proceeding in two different courts.
So does Disney still have the self-governing benefits right now?
Yes and no. I mean, you have the district, which was formerly the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which is now a newly named different district, the one that is suing Disney in court. So, and the difference is, you may be wondering, well, why is the district that exists to benefit Disney now suing Disney? It's because of a change of personnel. And that had something to do with DeSantis and a DeSantis-run government handpicking folks that are on that board. This is procedurally incredibly confusing, but most of the confusion comes from the fact that this board has changed names and changed personnel, and the new board is trying to undo what the old board did.
So self-governing itself, but also suing itself, kind of. It's a lot to keep track of. There's been a lot of pushback from even some Republicans on all of this, that DeSantis might have picked the wrong fight here. Is he setting himself up for failure from a legal standpoint?
Possibly from a legal standpoint. I think Disney, I mean, Contracts Clause cases are hard to win, but Disney really has a good argument that, I mean, it's being targeted because DeSantis's own words seem to suggest that that Disney itself is being targeted for its public speech or its response to Governor DeSantis's anti-woke policies, as he calls them. So I think Disney has an argument there. In terms of the board suing Disney to undo what the prior board did, they might have a case there that the board acted beyond its power. But both of these involve some really fascinating legal issues that don't normally come up. For example, the Contracts Clause of the Constitution. So it will be very interesting to see how a court deals with both and if they try to resolve them even in one action.
Danny Savalos, thanks so much. And tonight, people in Cuba are sleeping in their cars, all because of a critical shortage on gas right now. People have been waiting over a week just for a chance to fill up. Take a listen.
Aquí todavía llevamos más de 5 días, más de 10 días. Aquí hay lista de hace un mes marcado. Dale, yo llevo casi 20 días haciendo cola aquí, mi hermano. Llevo dormido la noche entera aquí.
And some people have even been pushing those cars to gas stations trying to get a drop of fuel. NBC's Ed Augustine has this report from Havana.
Lines of vehicles that can stretch for miles and bleary-eyed motorists that oftentimes have to sleep in their cars for days on end, waiting for gas stations to be replenished with gasoline. Cuba does not have enough oil. That's why we're seeing almost surreal queues like this throughout the country. The Cuba, which is the island's national oil company, has said that the country is currently receiving less than 40% of the crude oil it needs with which to refine products like gasoline and diesel. How did Cuba get into this situation? Two proximate reasons. First of all, Venezuela, which is Cuba's main ally. Since the year 2000, Cuba has had a barter agreement with Venezuela. Cuba sends Venezuela doctors and teachers and other professionals in return for Venezuelan crude oil, lots of it. But that is now coming under strain, and it seems that Cuba is receiving less Venezuelan oil than it did before. What's the second reason? Well, to put it briefly, the island's broke. Cuba does not have enough money to import fuel on the open market, and US sanctions on the country that have been ratcheted up over the last few years don't help. Economists say they cost the island billions of dollars every single year. That's less money with which to import fuel on the open market. What's the upshot? Well, apart from irritated and angry motorists, there are price rises for things like food at a time when Cubans are already feeling the pinch, and just getting a plate of food on the table is already tough for families. But perhaps most emblematic, today on the 1st of May, the May Day parade throughout Havana, which in normal times would have hundreds of thousands of Cubans marching to celebrate Workers' Day and implicitly the Cuban Revolution, has been postponed for lack of oil.
Ed Augustine in Havana, thanks so much. And coming up, the future of surgery. We're going to take you inside a real-life brain surgery to see how AI is being used in the treatment of brain cancer, and it is something to behold.
The texture of this feels pretty abnormal, too, which is a bit suspicious that there's some tumor there.
And here's some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. The U.S. is tracking another mysterious balloon. This one was seen flying over parts of Hawaii, and while the military says it doesn't pose any threats and didn't fly past any sensitive areas, they still don't know who it belongs to. And get this, remember that huge explosion during the SpaceX launch a few weeks ago? Well, now the FAA is being sued for even allowing that launch to happen. Some organizations think the agency didn't do an environmental review. U.S. Fish and Wildlife say the explosion spread debris for miles and even caused 3.5-acre fire there. And the pilots at American Airlines say they are willing to go on strike if the airline and their union can't agree on a new contract. Now, technically, they can't strike without the approval from the U.S. government, but they are still hoping that the fact that they've authorized one will give them some help at the bargaining table. And former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey says Elon Musk is not the best person to lead the company, but then also blames Twitter's board for forcing the sale to happen. Dorsey just launched a new Twitter-like platform called Blue Sky. And this year's Met Gala is underway. The rich and the famous made their way up the steps of the Metropolitan Museum in New York City just a little bit ago, and this year's theme is Karl Lagerfeld, a line of beauty meant to honor the late designer who is not without controversy. Lagerfeld has made a bunch of insulting comments over the years when it comes to women's body image and even the Me Too movement. Now, a single ticket for tonight's event costs $50,000. Tables start at $300,000. And on to the future of everything, and that means gas stoves, too. They are the kind of stove so many of us have in our kitchen, but New York is looking to ban them and might just become the first state in the country to do so in brand new buildings. NBC's Nyala Charles has the story.
New York State may become the first to ban gas stoves in a controversial move to ban natural gas in new buildings by 2025 as part of a recently proposed budget deal. For months, some people have been concerned that the Biden administration would back a similar federal ban, fueled by concerns from Republican lawmakers. But the White House says the president does not support banning gas stoves. Left-leaning cities across the country have passed similar bans, while some other states like Texas and Arizona have prohibited a natural gas ban. Data from the EPA says commercial and residential buildings account for 13% of the country's greenhouse gas emissions, mainly from gas appliances. And some researchers have linked gas stoves to childhood asthma and other health issues.
We'll continue to ensure a cleaner, healthier environment for future generations. We have the nation's most ambitious plan. We're proud of it.
In New York, the ban is not finalized, but the governor, a Democrat, is already getting pushback from critics, like the restaurant industry, where the majority use gas stoves.
Why is the National Restaurant Association against natural gas bans?
Over 90% of restaurant chefs
reports to the National Restaurant Association that changing the way that they cook with natural gas is going to have a profound impact on the quality of the dishes that are being served.
Environmental groups say a natural gas ban could significantly decrease indoor pollution. Dr. Aaron Bernstein studies the health impacts of gas emissions.
When you burn gas indoors, it makes air pollution that's bad for lungs. And that air pollution can reach pretty high levels, particularly in kitchens where there's not a lot of ventilation.
But with 37% of American households still using gas stoves, decisions about its future are causing friction.
We are certainly urging the New York State legislators and the governor to keep an open mind, consider including exceptions for restaurants that are using natural gas.
From a public health standpoint, really the question, ban or no ban, is how we can minimize exposure. Because, even with this ban, most folks are still going to have natural gas, right, for a long time.
NBC's Nyla Charles joins us now in the studio. Nyla, how soon could this happen in New York?
Well, the New York governor's office says right now they've reached a conceptual agreement with it expected to be finalized this week.
Wow. And we were just talking a little bit ago. I've got a gas stove at my house. You've got a gas stove at your house. What can people with gas stoves at home right now do?
So this one's important because, like you said, I didn't realize before doing this story of all the risks associated with indoor pollution. So I did ask the doctor that, and what he said was every time you use your stove, you should be having the vents on. You should also open windows and open doors to increase the amount of ventilation in your apartment or home. And if you have any kids, make sure they're not in the room when you're using the gas stove.
And finally, when we see some of these stories, there are stories that seem like they're going to definitely end up in court. Is that what seems like might happen here?
Well, it depends. Well, we know when we look back at it, in Berkeley, California, that was the first city to enact a similar natural gas ban. For them, federal courts appeal struck that down. But since then, from 2019, a lot of other cities, including Los Angeles, have successfully passed and enacted similar bans. So with New York State potentially being the first, Gadi, it could be challenged by a court.
Nyla Charles, thanks so much for joining us. And AI. Let's talk about AI a little bit. It gets a bad rap sometimes, but there are some places where it could come in super handy, like brain surgery. So tonight we are going to be taking a look at some brilliant new technology that can find biomarkers of a cancerous tumor in just 3 minutes compared to 3 weeks with normal technology. And that means thousands of people could get treatments much sooner than ever, which is crucial because when it comes to brain surgery, every second counts. NBC's Dr. Akshay Sayal has this story. And just a quick warning, he is going into the operating room to show a surgery as it happens. So some of this might be tough to watch.
At 56 years old, George Kalasa was living the American dream. A successful career in marketing, a happy marriage, and a sweet black lab named Charlie. But 1 year ago, his life changed forever.
You woke up one morning and you had lost the feeling in the left side of your body.
What was that like? Scary because I did not understand what was going on.
They rushed to the hospital, and after a few tests,
we had learned that there were 3 tumors. There was one large tumor in the back that was about the size of a grapefruit, and there were 2 other smaller tumors. Those were not able to be operated on.
His brain surgeon, NYU Langone Health's Dr. Dan Oringer, told George that he likely had glioblastoma, the most deadly form of brain cancer. The average survival, just 8 months.
This really sucks. I don't want this.
It took 4 long weeks before George could start treatment as doctors waited for the tumor's genetic tests to come back.
I think I just cried every day for a week straight. One of the statistics that I found right away was a glioblastoma tumor can double in size in just 14 days. Time was not in our favor.
Frustrated after watching other patients go through the same thing, Oringer has been working on a solution.
It really is hard for clinicians and patients, I think, to wrap their heads around that waiting period.
But now, using groundbreaking artificial intelligence, Oringer invented a device called deep glioma that can predict the genetics of a tumor in less than 3 minutes, a process that can take up to 6 weeks. One recent study found that deep glioma was 93% accurate compared to the usual method.
We're here at NYU Langone Health, where we're about to head into a real-life brain surgery to see how they're using AI to help get patients a diagnosis faster.
So the plan for this operation is to take a small portion of this abnormality, image that, and use the artificial intelligence to predict the genetics. Microcyst?
I don't think I've ever seen human brain before like that.
It's magnificent. The texture of this feels pretty abnormal too, which is a bit suspicious that there's some tumor there.
That is the brain tissue that just came out. Yep. Inserted into the imager.
Now we're going to run deep glioma to forecast the mutations that underlie the tumor that we're looking at. This is a genetic forecast that the AI has created that gives us a strong indication that what we're looking at here is genetically similar to glioblastoma.
Dr. Schnuderl, you're a pathologist here. How big of a deal is this?
It's an incredible advancement. We can have a molecular diagnosis in 3 minutes instead of 3 weeks.
Further research is needed, but the hope is that this technology could help patients like George start treatment earlier, before the tumor has a chance to grow bigger.
I would say time is survival and time is quality of life.
But for George, living with cancer, every moment precious.
This disease is tough, but on the other hand,
your spirit is still there.
My spirit's here, and I'm going to be okay. No matter what happens, I'm going to be okay.
And Dr. Akshay Sal joins us now. Dr. Sal, I have so many questions after seeing that. Okay, so first off, you heard him say he had 8 months to live, or he was told he had 8 months to live. Then you heard that 4 weeks, we're waiting for results to come back. And then a little bit later in the surgery room, they said that it only took 3 weeks to get a result, but this could do it in 3 minutes. Are they talking about the same thing here?
Yeah, they're talking about the same thing, and it's a little confusing. So the average survival time for glioblastoma, the most deadly and the most common form of brain cancer, is just 8 months, Gadi. And the problem is a lot of the time you're waiting to get the mutations back, because those mutations can tell you how the tumor's going to behave, and you need those mutations to get the final treatment plan. And so for a tumor that has a survival of average of 8 months, you're spending a month right there just waiting to get that full treatment plan. I mean, that's not ideal. And so what these researchers have developed is a way to get those in just 3 minutes using artificial intelligence with 93% accuracy compared to the usual method.
So right there in the surgery room, they have their results. That seems like all of a sudden, I mean, is this a game changer?
It could be, and here's the coolest part, the clinical trial aspect, because one of the biggest problems with brain tumor treatment is this thing called the blood-brain barrier. So our body has this barrier to protect the brain from harmful things in the blood from making their way to the brain. And because of that, it can be hard to give treatments in the blood because you don't know if they're going to reach the brain. So if you know right then and there in the surgery what mutations you have, you could give something to the brain right then in the operating room. That's something that we really haven't seen before, and that's what all the doctors are excited about.
Wow. And does this just apply to brains and brain surgery, or is this something that we could see with cancers everywhere?
For now, it's just brains, but our researchers are actually looking to lung cancer next. Lung cancer is where we've seen this explosion of targeted therapy based on mutations. If you could get those faster, why not? They're looking to lung cancer next, hopefully with just the same amount of accuracy, Gadi.
That's incredible. How soon do you think that we could see progress here?
So in a couple years is when they're estimated to get this to the public. You're going to need to validate this with more patients. You're going to need further studies. You're going to need to get this in front of the FDA. Really, how the FDA is going to handle artificial intelligence in general is going to be an interesting thing looking forward.
And I got to ask, when you were in the operating room there and you saw how fast it was to get these results back, what was your reaction?
I was stunned. I couldn't believe it. I mean, you had the whole team there. You had the pathologist. You had the brain surgeon. I was stunned. And fortunately, we were able to tell the patients the results of those mutations as well.
And finally, giving treatment directly to the brain, that sounds like a lot more effective as well, right?
Because of that blood-brain barrier. We're talking about a method of delivery of treatment that we've really never seen before. So the potential here is really, really exciting. Delivering future devices directly to the brain, something that we really haven't done before.
Dr. Sal, incredible on so many different levels. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah. Before we go, what were you doing when you were 12 years old? I bet it wasn't detailing Ferraris and other iconic cars. We're going to introduce you to a kid who is doing just that coming up next. Now we get to meet some pretty incredible young people as part of our Best of Us series, and our next guest is no exception. He calls himself the Detail Kid, and he has worked on some of the most iconic cars out there with some very famous owners. From Tom Selleck's Ferrari to Steve McQueen's Jaguar. In fact, at 12 years old, he is the youngest person to earn certification from the International Detailing Association, and it's not just sweet rides he gets to work on. Check out his latest project.
Here she is. the G3 Ronald Reagan and George Bush Air Force One. I actually did this bright work, a little bit of it. Did a little bit. I did from about here to here-ish.
With us now is the detail kid himself, Stephen Thompson III, and his dad, Stephen Thompson II. Welcome to you both. Air Force One. Okay, gotta ask, pretty hard job, or was it spotless already?
It was okay. It was pretty oxidized.
It was pretty oxidized, and then you buffed, like, that chrome was, I mean, that was shining.
Yeah, it looked very discolored, and we brought it back with some polish, metal polish.
Nice. And Dad, this is a family business, right? When did this become a passion for you guys?
Oh, boy. I've been in the business 20 years, and he's grown up in it, and he's taken a shine to it, just loving it, and and he's taken it very seriously the last few years.
Taking a shine to it. What's the coolest project you guys have worked on together?
Air Force One?
Yeah, a lot of
hard to top.
I got to tell you, down in L.A. at the Peterson Automotive Museum, I didn't get to work on that. I was the photographer. I wasn't invited to participate. So he's done a lot more cooler stuff than I have.
How do you teach your son to have an eye for detail, or is that something that just runs in the family?
He loves cars, and he likes to do them right. And you know, not only today were we up here doing the Air Force One, but he actually had a social media influencer reach out to him to go to Philadelphia this morning, and he detailed 2 cars down there before we came here.
You were busy. So tell me, what's your process? When you get the call and you get there, what's the first thing you do?
Wash it. And then
wash it. That's you up on the roof there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you wash it, and then on the inside, my problem is I always have food in all of the cracks. What do you do?
We vacuum it, and then we blow with the air gun, and then we vacuum all the leftover crumbs, all the dirt. We clean that up, and then we do the leather. We do the dash, all the buttons, all the rest of the things that a detailer would need to do, wiping it down, using cleaners.
Carpets, seats, everything. It's a big job. Every car is different.
Wait, and so if you guys are jet setting around the country and you're working on these things, I know pretty much everywhere, and people are calling you, do you pack it all in your bag, or do you pick it up when you get there? Do they have some of the supplies? I mean, air guns, you're talking about a pretty hefty amount of equipment, right?
That's funny. We had some good friends, Tracy and Glenn, Automax. They helped him out. They were on they did the project at Air Force One. Up in New York, Poughkeepsie, and they sent us, when he had this job in Philadelphia, they lined him out with some stuff to take down there too. So he's got relationships all over the country, and so he can pretty much almost go to any state and have a friend there that's going to help him out with some stuff, whatever he needs.
At 12, I can't wait to see what happens at 13. What's next for you?
I'm not really sure. Hopefully Jay Leno's garage.
He's got his eyes on anybody with a car collection. He wants to go there.
So it's not just one car. You're after collections.
Yes.
Okay, so here's a question. When you get your license, what's your first car going to be?
1969 Dodge Charger. The General Lee.
The General Lee, huh? Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We can't wait to see what you guys do next. And that does it for us tonight. I'm Gadi Schwartz. We're going to see you tomorrow. But until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.